The Zeekr 7X is finally in Australia, and let me tell you, it is impressive. I don't want to give away too much before we go through it all in this review, but this could be the right SUV for you if you want something that's full EV and very well priced and extremely well specified. So let's cover it all in this review. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Let's check it out. There are three different versions of the Zeekr 7X on sale right now in Australia. The entry-level version, the rear-wheel drive, starts at a very impressive $57,900 before on-road costs, and you are getting so much standard spec and tech for your money in that entry-level grade. A lot of it is mirrored in this mid-spec model, which adds a bigger battery pack with more EV driving range for a few $1,000s extra. It also gets more power and torque, but we'll cover that off shortly. And let me run through what you're getting as standard across both of these vehicles. So there's full LED lighting, of course. You get 19-inch alloy wheels. There's a panoramic glass roof with a power sunshade, autonomous parking assist, a 13-inch digital instrument cluster, 16-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, as well as sat-nav. There's a 10-speaker sound system, 3-zone climate control, 4-zone voice command. You've got ambient lighting, leatherette upholstery, 14-way power adjustable driver's seat, heated front seats, and a 10-way power adjustable passenger seat with memory settings as well. Plus there's heated rear seats, a heated steering wheel, and if you step into this long-range rear-wheel drive, you get a head-up display as standard, a power adjustable steering wheel, ventilated front seats, and massaging front seats too. And if you want the fast one, which is considerably faster because it adds all-wheel drive to the equation, then the top spec version still seems very affordable compared to some of the rivals out there. It's like 10 or 15 grand cheaper, but it also adds a bit of extra stuff as well as extra speed, including 21-inch forged alloy wheels, air suspension with continuous damping control, automatic doors so the doors can actually close themselves. It gets Napa leather upholstery on the inside and power sunshades for the rear windows. Honestly, this car is so well equipped for the money. It's not too expensive either, but what else could you consider if it's not quite right for you? Well, here's some alternatives to think about. The obvious alternative is the Tesla Model Y because it does have similar pricing and a long standard equipment list as well. It's also got a very practical cabin, lots of space and comfort, and a good amount of technology with great connected services for that Model Y. I really do think it stacks up very well. Apart from the drive experience for me, I just find it to be a little bit strange to drive, but I'd love to know if you drive a Model Y, if you love it or not. Another option to consider is the Xpeng G6, which starts at a very assertive price point, $54,800 plus on-road costs. There's a higher spec version of it as well. I was really impressed with the Xpeng because it's very nice to drive, quite normal feeling to drive, spacious and comfortable and luxurious feeling as well, and it could be a very good choice if you are willing to roll the dice on a new brand with a new model. And finally, if you want something from an established player in the market, the Volkswagen ID.4 could be a great choice because the ID.4 has the smaller footprint than some of these other SUVs. It also has some really clever suspension with 15-stage dampers, so you can make it drive how you want it to, and it doesn't ask too much of you in terms of the technology. It's easy to get along with, and unfortunately it doesn't have connected services. That's its biggest letdown because otherwise it is well priced and well spec'd and a very nice thing to drive. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. It is a rather unconventional looking vehicle, and this big black bar at the front is because in Australia it's not legal to get the big light bar that they get in markets like China, and that is a bit of a disappointment. But I'll put the dimensions on your screen right now so you can see what we are working with in terms of size, just under 4.8 meters. So it is a big unit. It's got a very long wheelbase as well. And just have a look at these door handles. They pop out, which actually is better than some of the others out there because they're a bit easier to get your hands on. There's keyless entry as well. Just be mindful though, that's your charge port. I'll tell you about the charging stuff shortly, but it doesn't have a way to get into it unless you touch the screen inside or the app on your phone. So that might be an issue for some. At the rear, I think it's a very tidy but simple looking piece of design, but I do want to call out the fact there's a rear wiper up there. that's a big bonus in my opinion. Now, boot space does have an electric tailgate across the entire range, and the boot space is very good. You'll see the cargo capacity number on your screen, and I'll show you some of the great amenities in here. You've got shopping bag hooks and lights. You've also got them on that side, and you've got a 12-volt power outlet. This particular pre-production car doesn't have a cargo cover. Maybe it'll come with that as standard, but here you'll see you've got extra storage under there for your charging cables, and yeah, you can partition that if you want to as well, which is actually going to be handy if you've got big items that you don't want falling over. And you've got more storage underneath there, which is bloody impressive, I have to say. But of course, that means you have no spare, so keep that in mind. You'll see the front cargo capacity on your screen, and I mean, that's just added practicality, isn't it? Okay, let's have a look at the interior of the 7X. And if you saw my review of this car in China, you'll know that I thought it was pretty premium feeling, and it still feels that way to me in Australia, people. This is a nice cabin. I love the feeling in here. It doesn't feel like it's a stripped out, affordable car, even though it is relatively affordable for the money. It does have some really great features, including a driver info screen with a fair bit of information, as you can see there, and there's a head-up display as well. That's excellent to see. It does feel like the material quality is excellent in here too. So you've got a mix of different materials. Some of it is a bit strange, maybe a bit artificial feeling, but look at this lighting that comes along this section of the dashboard here. It's beautiful. There's some really great finishes on the seats as well. They're super comfy and cushy and adjustable and heated and ventilated as well. So there's plenty of great functionality with the seats. These doors, that's your door pop button right there. That might take a little bit of getting used to. You got good sized bottle holders down there. And I do think that this is a very luxurious feeling cabin for the money. I mean, this is more luxurious than some cars that cost twice or three times the money, in my opinion. And also, I love the fact that you've got relatively conventional controls for most of the elements. So there's a gear select off the steering column, as you can see. You tap down for your cruise control systems as well. And you've got here a blinker and wiper switch too, which is good. On the steering wheel, you've got some controls for different elements, and I do think that you'll get used to all these controls pretty quickly. The screen might take a little bit of time to get used to. There are plenty of different menus. You've got a number of different controls on the screen here to quickly get to if you want to, like your seat massage function, if you want that as well, head-up adjustments, mirror adjustments, and you've got a sat-nav system built in too, if you want to use that. Apple CarPlay wirelessly available, and I think that that is pretty good. Surround view camera system in this car is excellent, I have to say. You've got a few different view modes as well. If you want to make it 3D, you can. You can look at the wheel hubs, or you can make it normal. There's plenty of different views, and an auto parking system too if you're a nervous parker. There's plenty of other controls down the bottom of the screen here, as you can see, including fan and temperature controls. Some of your seat controls are there as well, so ventilation and heating and massage. So there's plenty of stuff that you have to get used to, but I think you will get used to it pretty quick in this car. I have, and this is not necessarily up to the final version of the software right now, but it's still pretty good, I've got to say. You've got, as you can see, car wash mode, camping mode, pet mode, rest mode, all those modes which seem to be appealing to Chinese buyers in particular, but I do think that, look, as I said, there's lots and lots of stuff on screen, and I've gotten used to it pretty quickly. But I've also really enjoyed the fact that there are some controls down here for quick adjustments. So if you want to, you can go into that button there and open your boot. You've got a volume dial and a play pause button if you press it, and also a favorite button there, so you can set that up if you want to be different things, but Recirc is what it is at the moment, and a glove box button, because, well, it's better than having no glove box at all. Wireless phone chargers there, a big storage cabbie under there with some USB ports. There's these adjustable cup holders. You get a massive center console bin in there, as you can see, and overhead you've got non-magnetized sun visors like in a Model Y. They are a little bit more sturdy feeling, and of course you get the illuminated vanity mirrors. There's grab handles above for everyone, which is great. An auto-dimming rear vision mirror, and you've also got controls up here for your sunshade, which is actually very good. To have a thick shade over a big glass roof does make a bit of a difference, and it might make it more family friendly for those who want the open air feeling without having the open air necessarily. But I really do think that this is a lovely interior. There are some things I maybe don't love about it. The switches, well, you'd think that pulling down on the window switch would probably wind the window down, but you actually push it forwards to put the window down and pull it back to put it up. So am I wrong? Tell me in the comments. There's some really cool storage features like little armrest cubbies. Haven't seen them for years, but I do reckon that the interior experience here is top notch. But what about the backseat experience? Let's check it out. If you need more space than this, you're a very tall human. There's plenty of room in the back of this SUV. Sure, it does have a bit of a knees up sort of experience because it's got a pretty high floor, but I do think that the comfort here is excellent in terms of legroom. You've got matte pockets on those seat backs. Nice shiny material on the back there. It's maybe a bit strange, but headroom is also very good with the roof open. Lots of light in the back. Close it and it doesn't feel too dark, thankfully. Now, overhead, there's some great amenities. So some grab handles, some lights, some cargo hooks. There's a little camera here. Don't know what that's for. You tell me if you know in the comments. And you've also got the nice door armrests with soft padding and door pockets with bottle holder capability. Down here, you've got some storage for loose items. You might be wondering, well, where are the rear air vents? Well, they're in the B pillars at a higher height, which I think for families is impressive because it means that you'll get better airflow to your kid's face. ISOFIX points in the window seats, 3 top tethers, of course, a flip down armrest with some cup holders and storage and charging capability. So it's taking care of lots of the things that you would hope for, and it's also got one other really cool thing. So down here you'll see you've got a little storage cubby, and there's another one over here as well. So just make sure that your kids don't put their banana peel or apple core in there, and I think you'll be happy. And I'm pretty happy as a backseat rider here. It is super comfy. Let's talk about the battery specs of the 7X. So the entry-level rear-wheel drive has a 75 kilowatt-hour LFP battery pack, which is good for a claimed 480 kilometers of driving range. And then if you choose either the long range or the performance model, you're getting the golden battery, 100 kilowatt-hour NMC battery with 615 Ks of WLTP range for the long range version and 543 for the dual motor all-wheel drive version, but it gets heaps more power and torque. Now, charging specs, we need to talk about it. So you do have a charge port on the passenger side rear here. It does have AC at a maximum rate of 22 kilowatts as standard across all grades, which is excellent. You will need 3-phase power, of course, but it will mean a lot faster charging if you have that capability at home. And then the DC charging rates are amazing for this car. So up to 450 kilowatt DC charging for the entry-level version, and up to 420 kilowatt DC charging for the other versions available in this lineup. So if you can find a charger that will do that kind of speed, which I mean, I think you're going to struggle to in Australia right now, it will mean a 10 to 80% charge in just 13 minutes. Now, could that mean that Zeekr will have to roll out its own fast charging network? Probably, because I mean, that will help get more people on board, but I think that the charging specs here might be enough to get people on board anyway. I'm not even going to open the bonnet of this car because there's nothing to really show you under there apart from the frunk, but let's talk power outputs. So the entry-level rear-wheel drive and the long-range rear-wheel drive have 310 kilowatts of power, 440 newton meters of torque. They're both rear-wheel drive with a single-speed transmission, and both have a claimed 0 to 100 of 6 seconds. And that's impressive for the mid-spec model because it gets a much bigger battery pack. But Then there's the all-wheel drive version. Now it is the hero of the range with 475 kilowatts, 710 Newton meters of torque, dual motor, all-wheel drive, single-speed transmission, and 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. Now I don't have that one here. I've got the mid-spec one, still 6 seconds 0 to 100 and 310 kilowatts. Let's go and see what it's like to drive. The Zeekr 7X feels normal. You know what's great about that? It doesn't feel like you're driving some kind of science experiment. It's got natural, progressive feeling steering. And while the tires on this car are maybe not the grippiest, and it doesn't necessarily have the most dynamic experience in terms of the drive experience, I think it meets exactly what it needs to meet in terms of targets for drivability, because it's perfectly acceptable. And I mean, it's maybe not as darty as a Model Y or something, but you really will feel like you are in control and you know what's going on. The car sits pretty flat on the road as well, and the ride comfort, I've been really impressed during my test of this car in Australia. Now this is not a full-scale Australian road test. I'm at Hart, which is a driver training facility in Sydney, to test it out, and it does give you a good example of different road surfaces and stuff that you will encounter across Aussie roads. And I've got to say, I mean, if this is what it's like in normal driving, it's going to be super livable and easy to get to terms with as well. Now, when it comes to the powertrain, as I said, there's a couple of different versions available. This is the mid-spec, so it does have a good amount of grunt still. So just a rolling acceleration here, and yep, it's got that throw you back in your seat sort of feeling to it. It's not the fastest one. There is a faster one if that's what you want, but I do think that this will still meet most people's needs and actually exceed them, especially if you're coming out of a regular diesel or petrol SUV. And I think that's the other thing. It's going to be much easier to get into a Zeekr 7X if you are thinking about getting into your first electric vehicle. This is going to be far more approachable than some of the others out there. There's more conventional controls. The drive experience feels more conventional, and it just doesn't make you feel like you are driving something that is asking you to be different. It just feels very, very good, I have to say. Now, what about braking? Well, there is a regen braking system, of course. It does a pretty good job. It's maybe not as assertive as some of the others out there in terms of like the single pedal driving situation, but the brake pedal feel is very responsive and positive underfoot. So it is honestly not really missing a beat or missing any of the targets in my mind, apart from maybe the steering just being a little bit slow feeling at times. But really, it's going to suit lots and lots and lots of family SUV customer needs. Very impressive. Now, one other thing, this is a pre-production car, and so it doesn't have the full-scale standard software just yet, but I haven't had any issues with the car in terms of the software systems or the lane keeping or anything like that. And if you do have issues with those things, you can simply flick down on the screen from the top, whether you're using CarPlay or not, and turn some of those things off if they get on your nerves. So drive experience, big thumbs up from me. Okay, so what about efficiency? There are some numbers to consider, obviously. I'll put the different efficiency claim figures on your screen now. And I mean, you know, really, you're going to have to figure out which one's going to be right for your needs, and then the efficiency will just be a byproduct of that. But if you're wondering what I've seen over my test, which, like I said, is not a full-scale Australian road test, it's just been here under closed circumstances, a closed proving ground, essentially, and you'll see what I saw on your screen now. And I think, I mean, in normal driving, if you can get anywhere near that kind of number, you are going to be pretty happy with that. The Zeekr 7X hasn't been tested by ANCAP yet, but it does have a 5-star Euro NCAP rating from recent testing, so it does have all the tech and spec to achieve that kind of score, including things like autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's front and rear cross traffic alert. You've got blind spot monitoring. There's a great surround view camera system standard. Plus, you get adaptive cruise control with stop, start and steer technology, and plenty of other great features too. Plus, there is a speed sign recognition system. Now, I can't speak to whether it's annoying annoying or not, because where I drove this car today, I didn't get a chance to see any speed signs, but there's also driver monitoring and lane keeping too. So those things might get on your nerves. I can't speak to whether they do or not, but there is also a quick drop-down menu on the screen to turn them off if you don't like them, if that's the case. Now, when it comes to airbags, plenty fitted. Dual front side, a front center airbag and curtain coverage for both rows of seats. Zeekr offers a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty for its model range, and there's also an 8-year warranty for the battery pack too. So pretty much what you would expect from most mainstream players these days. Now, when it comes to servicing, your intervals are every 12 months and 20,000 kilometres, and there will be a cap price service plan available for 5 years or 100,000 Ks too. Plus, there's also roadside assistance for 5 years, and the brand, because it has so much connected technology on offer in this car, does offer 5 years of free connected services as well. Obviously, it's a new brand with a new nameplate, so resale will probably be the biggest consideration when it comes to the ownership costs, but the ownership promise seems pretty good, if you can find a Zeekr dealership, that is. If I was buying an electric SUV, this would probably be the car it would be, because I think this ticks more boxes than most of the others out there. It's a well-rounded, well-considered, comfortable, thoughtful, practical, and likable package. And really, it doesn't seem to do too much wrong in terms of the overall experience here. But I'd love to know what you think. Would you pay this much for a new car from a new brand? I'd love to know. Please have your say. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for sharing this video with your friends and helping me grow my community. It does mean a lot to me. And you know what? I'll see you when I see you. Thanks for watching.